Now, passengers flying from Heathrow for pre-Christmas getaways have been warned to be braced for delays as ground handlers employed by Menzies have announced fresh strike action in a pay dispute.
Now, it's going to lead to disruption, delays and cancellations for flights leaving from Heathrow's terminals 2, 3 and 4, apparently, and affecting, as a result, many airlines.
Oh dear, here we go again. We're joined by travel expert Sally Gethin to tell us more. Hello. I mean, everybody thinking of getting away for Christmas will be thinking now, oh, why are we bothering to leave?
Point?
Yeah, what's the point?
Yeah, you know, we have these sort of random, almost wildcat strikes occurring, and it's really hard to track it, like where you stand all the time with your travel options. But Menzies is one of the big ground handling companies at Heathrow.
Now, what do ground handlers do?
Yeah, they take care of all the, we call it passenger handling, and the bags, for example, and just the general on-the-ground operations at the airport.
So you check in and all the rest of it, is that them?
Sometimes it can be the airline's own staff at check-in, for example, but sometimes, yes, it would be one of the ground handlers or passenger handlers.
Are they the people who would also bring maybe the exit stairs to the plane?
Yes, yeah, exactly. We call those ground support, that's ground support equipment. And obviously that's vital for the turnaround of the aircraft, for example, making sure that the whole schedule runs efficiently. So as we found in the summer, when there's not enough ground handlers, because if you recall, there was a shortage of staff due to various reasons, not so much industrial action then that can bring the airport almost to a standstill.
Yes, I remember my son was on a plane where the plane landed and it taxied in and it docked at the gate or whatever, and then they had to wait for several hours for the stairs to come to the plane.
Yeah, so this is very critical, and I think the longer-term problem with this is that the ground handlers' issues, they don't feel they're being paid enough, for example. Their union, Unite, has said it's not in line with the rate of inflation, and they're concerned because their cargo workers' counterparts received a higher offer. So they're saying, why can't the ground handlers have an equal offer?
Well, it's a fair point, isn't it? I mean, the Unite General Secretary said, yeah, it's a highly lucrative company. It made a fair pay offer. You don't hear that from the unions very often. It made a fair pay offer to one group of its workers, the cargo handlers, but isn't prepared to make a similar offer to its ground handlers. Well, it's good for goose, it's good for the gander.
Yeah, and Menzies haven't actually explained why that is either. And
is cargo more profitable?
Cargo is very profitable, and actually it was one of the growth industries during the pandemic. Obviously, all those medical supplies and vaccines had to be moved around, but everybody relied on all the flow of goods because, you know, we were all in a crisis. But the point is that this has to be resolved in the long term as well, because otherwise we could see further strikes happening, and it's too risky for the airport. Heathrow Airport is now going to have to talk to the major airlines. I mean, huge airlines like Lufthansa and Air Canada are going to be affected. They're big hub carriers, and all the interconnecting flights that they use, you know, once you arrive at your destination, could also be affected. So really, it's in the interests of the airport and the ground handlers and the travelling public for this to be resolved.
Is there any quick tip you could give to anyone who is going to fly coming up to Christmas? I mean, maybe only take cabin baggage, but that doesn't help everything, does it?
Out with the steps.
Yeah, I mean,
take a parachute.
Use your common sense. Obviously, be prepared. You know, double check. A lot of the rules have dropped now over COVID, but double check you've got everything organised. Make sure you check with your airline's website and app. You should be notified by your airline if there is a problem. There's also a lot of more in-depth advice on the regulator's page. That's the Civil Aviation Authority. And, if you find yourself in worst-case scenario, make sure you've checked whether you're eligible for compensation. But, I mean, it's really down to the airline in this instance to be advising passengers if they're booked for any of those strike dates, whether or not they could be disrupted.
Sally, thank you very much indeed.